Hi, we're back on Estranged Parents YouTube. If you don't know what an estranged parent is, it's a parent whose adult child does not speak to them for whatever reason. Could be money, could be some sort of addiction. Regardless, the child has decided not to speak to the parent, and generally the parent is not happy about it. And the parent wastes all their time harassing the kid into being like, well, it's your fault, I abused you. So welcome back. I cannot imagine what this is. Responding to 13,000 comments. Let's find out. What we have found out, by the way, through the videos that we have watched, is that the man who interviews them is named Ted, and it's her husband. So he also has an estranged daughter. She has an estranged daughter. We know that she's... Oh, God. We know that she's a TikToker. We found her Twitch account, but we're going to leave her out of this. We have not seen like a direct response from her. She does make some TikToks that are like, when your parents were, bad parents and you separate yourself, but nothing to where like she reacted to anything that was said directly.
Oh, I released a heart on the sleeve style of video explaining my experience as an estranged parent on this brand new channel, and it kind of blew up. I have been reading your 13,000 plus comments for days, and I still haven't made a dent in all that there is to see there. I do want to say thank you so much for taking the time to share your thoughts on this issue, whether you're for me or against me or somewhere in between. I really do
Every regular person should be against
the
you.
time you took to respond, and I especially appreciate those people who showed kindness and compassion in formulating their responses. If I were a better YouTuber, I'd be able to look straight into the camera and say all the words I'm about to say, but I'm not that good. I need my notes, so please forgive me if I look away at my notes on a pretty regular basis, because I'd rather just get this video out than have it be perfect. As I'm still reading these comments and running a poll to see where to take the channel next, and a link to that poll
Her
is
mic
down
is
below.
clipping. I was wondering what that like weird
I did want to address a few things
sound in the
that
background
keep
was.
coming up before creating the next real video. Number one, my narcissism diagnosis.
Okay.
I would like to thank all.
Oh my God. I'm already so annoyed. She's going to find a way to say that she's not a narcissist, but she very obviously is. I know, like, there's nothing more to that. She made an entire video about how she refuses to leave her daughter alone, and it's her daughter's fault that they're estranged. I don't know what you expect, bro.
All of the legions of armchair, I'm sure, fully qualified therapists who can watch a highly curated 16-minute video and come to that conclusion. As a reminder, the platform you are on is called YouTube, which means you as a creator tell your story and you upload your story to the platform and people can share your story or not. But yes, the video was about me. It was from my perspective as a parent going through this experience. This is arguably one of the most, not the most, but one of the most traumatic, horrifying thing that a parent can ever endure. It is a trauma.
How do you think your daughter feels about this
and you've gone through it
as the victim of all this?
If you're a parent who hasn't gone through it, you can probably fairly accurately imagine what it might be like. But if you're not a parent, you can imagine maybe intellectually what this is like, but you don't understand. You truly cannot understand the visceral bond imprinted chemically on your entire being with concern for your child throughout that child's life. As a reminder, my daughter went no contact, and she talked about
this one is not getting into her own video because like this is obviously just her responding, and I don't have a lot of things to say about it. This is why you don't talk to the parents because they just will not take any sort of accountability. Even if they did, right, they wouldn't admit it. But firstly, they will not realize it's their fault. She has a wall of people on YouTube saying, hey, you know, maybe you're a narcissist. And she goes, well, this is why I'm not, and this is why you're wrong. My daughter chose to go no contact. She's the problem. And they're always a step away from being like, my daughter chose to go no contact because no, because she just did. Okay, no reason. All right.
About that on her TikTok account a year and a half ago. Per her wishes, I have not attempted to contact her for the last year and a half.
But she asked you before that not to contact her, and you've been contacting her. So you can't be like, I'm a good guy, I respect your wishes. No, you gave up because she wouldn't contact you back.
So I can't reach out for her side, or I would be crossing boundaries, which means I don't know what she's thinking because I'm not a mind reader. And by the way, that original video was not a documentary. It's a mom's collection of random snippets filmed sporadically over 2.5 years, spun into a story that is meant to convey viscerally my feelings as a mother going through the experience of being rejected by your adult child after loving them your whole life. And that's what the video is about.
I would love for her to call it a work of fiction. Just be like, this is obviously like a fictitious video.
There are a lot of good channels on YouTube that talk about estrangement academically, and they're really great resources for learning the basics. But I wanted to shed light on this issue.
She doesn't think her daughter's feelings are more valid than her own. She doesn't think they're valid at all because they're different than hers. She thinks that her feelings, her own, are correct. And if yours are different from hers, okay, maybe you have them, but they're wrong.
Viscerally, from the point of view of a mom just trying to cope, and to show other moms and dads that they are not alone. You know, because apparently this is a trending issue in America. So that's the primary audience. Other parents who are silently and shamefully going through this, thinking they're the only one. I want them to know they're not alone. And this is how it feels, and it's a process, and you can get through it, and just to give them a little bit of hope that there is light at the end of the tunnel, even if their child never talks to them again, which is not what any of us typically want, but statistically, the likelihood of reconciliation is very, very low. The last 2 minutes of that video are for my daughter, who I can't speak to, who doesn't want to speak to me. She may or may not ever see that video and hear those words. I don't know, but they're there for her in case she...
I don't like the way she said she may or may not ever see this video or hear those words. I don't like hear those words in the way that she says that. She's like, well, this is obviously like an apology, but it's not, right? Because if you watch the video, she goes, she decided not to talk to us because of like who we're voting for. But like, I feel like that's more of a problem with my husband and Ted, because I'm not even that political. Like, that was her whole thing. So it's not, what do you mean hear those words? There were no words in there that were any way apologetic or affirmative. There was nothing there other than you finding different ways to blame other people for the situation you put yourself in. For the situation you force your daughter into, dude. Like, that sucks.
She finds them. And you can misconstrue them. You can make faulty assumptions. And you can leave nasty comments all you want. But those words aren't for you. They're for her. She's a smart girl.
Did a bad job.
She knows. And the other moms and dads out there, they know. Number 2, her ADHD autism diagnosis. There were some who seemed horrified that we outed or appeared to out her diagnosis. I didn't make this clear in the video, but we learned about that diagnosis from her TikTok account. It's one of the prominent themes of her channel, and no, I will not disclose what it is. We also know from what she shares there that going no contact was one of the worst days of her life. So yes, we understand that it was a very serious, painful decision for her to make. I'm sure she needed the space because she hates conflict. So for her to make this choice, I know it's serious. And for those of you who think we shouldn't be looking at her TikTok, invading her social media space, we don't go very often, but hello, it's the internet. It's public content, so there is no invasion. Number 3, her alternative lifestyle. I think people misinterpreted my one comment about the cosplay thing. My daughter is she's a really talented artist. I have to admit that a couple of her characters were kind of weird for us to see
Look at her. I hate that she's reading this. Like, I get that you have notes. I get it. Maybe don't read them all like word for word when you're talking about your daughter. Like, she's reading, my daughter is a great artist. And I hate it.
admit that a couple of her characters were kind of
she's reading
weird
that
for us to see as parents, but we got used to it, and we really don't care how she dresses or who she votes for or who she sleeps with or whatever. So long as everything is legal between consenting adults, we don't have a problem with it. I don't need to know everything. It's her life. We're actually okay with alternative lifestyles. And it's your life. If you're living that life, you know, just enjoy it. But don't jam it down everybody else's throat.
Nobody's jamming anything. Where'd that come from?
That's too much. Just go have fun, be who you are, and we'll be here being who we are. And, you know, just remember, this is the United States of America. You know, in the US, assuming we're legal citizens, we're all Americans, and we shouldn't forget that. Number 4, your assumptions. My dear Eeks, aka Estranged Adult Children, named after the Reddit group that sent so many of you here, your assumptions that my husband and I engaged in zero introspection or take zero
No, she's gonna do it. She's gonna go, obviously, we kind of like figured it out, but no, like, no, like, you can't say that when the videos you make are very obviously one-sided and it's all you being a problem.
Responsibility for this relationship because we didn't choose to share all the details with.
But also, like, we went through the TikTok. I don't remember. We didn't go through a lot of like the cosplay ones, but I remember them being like in any way revealing. I don't remember.
The entire freaking internet. That is 100% faulty thinking. Yes, we did extensively examine everything we did like most parents would. We know we're not. Everything we did, yes, we did extensively examine everything we did like most parents would. We know we're not perfect. We have some ideas.
I hate that she has to read this.
You don't need to know all the details. This video isn't about you or for you. It's really for other parents like us who are dealing with the same trauma of being rejected by an adult child after doing what we thought was a decent job raising them, given a whole hell of a lot of challenges and hurdles along the way. This is for parents who didn't verbally or physically abuse their children or stand by as another family member did. There were some of you who had heartbreaking stories to share of your estrangement and why, and it's completely understandable why you would walk away from that situation. This channel, you know, doesn't really deal with that. That wasn't my experience, so I really can't relate to that. This channel is really for parents who truly did the best they could in good faith and are honestly a little confused about being cut off because
she got didn't she get like a not 30 page, she got a letter, she got a full letter as to why, and she was like, I don't get it. That's really like between her and my husband Ted. I'm not even that political. she must be wrong about why she said that she doesn't want to talk to us.
The reasons we're being given seem kind of weak. The no contact punishment power move here is about being cut off because the reasons we're being given seem kind of weak. The no contact punishment power move here seems to far outweigh the level of alleged wrongdoing in not all, but a lot of cases.
Imagine breaking up with someone and you're like, hey, it's not working out. I'm not feeling it. And they're like, not good enough. We're just going to stay in this relationship. Like, give me a better reason. I don't like that you voted for Trump. Nope, I need a better reason. We're just going to stay together through that.
Cases, which suggests a larger societal problem, which I expect the channel to explore
she's already
forward.
Deflecting. She's
Number
like, okay, so it's obviously not my fault.
Drive-by judgment.
Her reasons were not good enough, so it's obviously not my fault. It's probably the problem with society. Those darn TikTok kids.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I don't give a shit. Got that? This channel is not for the angry mob of shame and judge. This channel isn't for you. So please, move along. Don't waste your precious time here. However, if you're an estranged adult child, genuinely curious about how this might look from the parent's point of view, with some thoughtful observations to share, then welcome. You are absolutely welcome. There have been many comments from many of you who have made the difficult choice, but still approach the conversation with kindness and compassion, even if you disagree. Respect that. And for the record, I did read the entire Coleman estrangement.
And then that too, that we should understand that this is a person who, you can't just respond to their like direct actions, right? Because there's so much, they're an entire person. So when she says, oh, we had different political views, we know that. Also, we know that this person is pretty narcissistic, even if they're not a narcissist. They have a lot of tendencies. In all they've said, in all the videos we've watched and all the time we've spent with her, she's never once taken accountability for anything. She's not taking accountability for a single thing. She's found different ways to be like, I don't know why my daughter would say this. At some point she said her daughter's reasons were not good enough. Like, nobody has anything to prove to you. Whether or not they want to speak to you is a choice. It's not something that they have to like prove they have enough reasons to do. So yeah, and she's victimized herself over everything, especially like comments that are pretty like fine. She does the Trump thing, right? Where like if anyone questions him in anything, he goes, that was nasty. So nasty. You're ugly. Your wife is ugly. Your mom, ugly. Trying to find a reason for the way she's talking. There isn't one. Like if you want to find a reason, you're just looking in the wrong place. You're looking for an unreasonable person to be reasonable. And that's a good way to disappoint yourself. It's the reason you don't talk to the parents. It's the reason why when we watch the video with the child, not her child, but one of the kids I was willing to talk about their estrangement, the kid was like, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. And in every video we've seen with the parents, they go, I don't know, like maybe, I yelled at them to go to their room. Maybe that's abusive.
Book eventually. It was a very good book. It had a lot of good ideas in it. It just honestly took me a few months to get to a spot emotionally where I could let it in. And I think what a lot of parents going through this don't realize is that what you experience after being cut off kind of unexpectedly by a loved child.
If it's unexpected, that's again on you. Like this is, I guarantee you, it wasn't just like one little thing happened. Oh, by the way, I voted for Trump today. Aha. And then she like left. No, I guarantee you, one, there's a bunch of reasons. And two, that like that specific issue was an ongoing conversation. And at some point, there's a good chance the kid went, if you vote for them, I'm not talking to you. And they did it anyway, because they just like don't believe her. And then after they do it, they go, your reason's not good enough for us. And that's what she said. Her reasons did not seem good enough for me, which is a dumb thing to say and an awful way to think. You're going to disappoint yourself waiting for her to say something valuable. She's not going to.
Is trauma. And it can lead you to experience something like PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. Now, if there are any actual legitimate therapists out there who want to chime in on that thought, please feel free. But let's not forget,
Perp, you're a
parents
mom.
are
You should
people
just be
too.
home.
Please comment.
Unless you want to
with
work.
kindness,
Do whatever you want.
compassion, and empathy. I think I have a pretty good idea of what's causing this problem with some American youth, and most of these highly educated kids have no idea what's been done to them because they haven't been around long enough to climb high enough to see the 30,000-foot view.
I hate the way I hate the way she talks, but I hate the way she says nothing. I hate the way she says nothing. Look at this.
Idea what's been done, idea of what's causing this problem with some American youth, and
She's reading this too. She wrote this and thought it was a good idea.
most of these highly educated kids have no idea what's been done to them because they haven't been around long enough to climb high enough to see the 30,000-foot view.
Most of these highly educated kids have no idea because they haven't been around long enough to climb high enough to see the 30,000-foot view. Just say it. Just say what it is you're thinking. Like saying these kids just don't know, which is what she said, does nothing. It's so stupid. It's so dumb how they're just willing to talk and say nothing. I don't know. I don't know what boating entails. Like all I know about boating is from SpongeBob and he's not good at it. Why do my eyes look like I'm permanently bruised?